A long time ago, high in the mountains where fast rivers run, a tree lit the spark of inspiration. The people of the mountains saw that they could train the tree's roots across the water and forge them into a bridge. That power to recognize possibilities, to really see, lives inside of us. Like a root bridge, it can connect us to the world, to the wisdom of our past, to those who come after us.
El agua es fundamental acá en la agricultura. Cada gota de agua nos cuesta demasiado para hacerlos llegar hasta acá. Hoy, lamentablemente, no tenemos la misma cantidad, el mismo volumen de agua que hace 50 años teníamos. Bueno, las terrazas y los andenes, como ustedes lo hacen, que tengamos una eficaz rol de riego, ¿no? Reducir quizás una erosión de suelo que tengamos en terrenos ya bastante erosionados. Podamos hacer muchos andenes que ustedes pueden ver para que enfrentar el cambio climático.
Grassroots innovation are built by the people, for the people, as they build resilience towards the local challenges they face every day.
It's really imperialistic to think that solutions come from that industrial technical world now.
There are probably millions of pieces of knowledge which are incredibly powerful for solving global problems that we'd have no idea because we're not even looking for them.
Right here, those are the whole monkey bars. These are like the little things to, like go up it. And I'm like kind of tall for it, but like usually we're on top of this. I'm gonna break the house.
Yeah, so my name is Gitanjali Rao. I'm 15 years old and I'm an innovator, author, and promoter of science, technology, engineering, and math, especially for students and youth.
This is my science kit. This is something my uncle gave me when I was 4 years old. It is very busted, to say the least. So I was inspired by the water crisis in Flint, Michigan about 3 years ago. And it was absolutely appalling to see how many kids my age were basically drinking like a poison every single day, right? So I created something like Tethys, which is like an easy to use at-home tool for lead in drinking water. This is a breadboard that everything gets hooked up into, and this is a lithium-ion battery. And it comes with this cartridge that gets dipped into the water and then tests if you have clean drinking water.
We've created a stereotype for what innovation is across the past 50 years. You look for, particular person, right? A mad scientist who's typically white, who's typically old, and who's typically a male. I am not that. I am not at all what you see on the media. Innovation to me is the process of thinking differently to solve a problem in the world around you. Our generation is growing up in a place where we're seeing problems that have never existed before. And right now, innovation needs all of us, right? No matter our age, our gender, or our race. We have to maximize innovation and creativity together.
The seed of potential lives within each of us. Every day, people face challenges with ingenuity and vision. How they work, where they find inspiration, can help us all find new ways to build a better tomorrow.
Mình nghiên cứu cái dự án này là rất là lâu, từ 2012 mà cho tới năm 2017 thì mình cũng giữ lại một số cái mẫu từ 2017, 2019, 2018. Thì khi tôi về đây làm, xe nó bị hỏng chở. Ơi, sao mà rác thối như thế này? Cái chuyện mà hư xe, cái chuyện đó là tất nhiên nó phải xảy ra thôi, không sớm thì muộn nó cũng phải có. Cho nên ước chi mà cái rác đi mà nó thành tiền thì họ mai cái môi trường này nó mới sạch được. Có chuyên ngành về sinh học mình cũng và mình cũng không có không đại loại là mình không được đào tạo, không có chuyên môn. Tôi tên là Trịnh Thị Hồng. Tôi đang là giám đốc doanh nghiệp mà tái chế phế phẩm hữu cơ thành chất tẩy rửa.
This is the imagination book. This is where all ideas are born. This is where all ideas are nature. And then this is where I write whatever thing I think or imagine. This is actually the gallery generator. And then you can see this is a different model. And these are the materials, the solar switch, transformer, battery. I have so much concern about the environment. I want to see how best I will minimize air pollution. My dad is a welder. Dad is so talented, I will help him do a lot of things. I also learned how to do these things. I do it for myself. I call this imagination light because it's everything I imagine. I decided to create this light to help people do not have access to electricity. This is a sketch of the car I want to build. It has a solar panel that acts as a source of energy. After I've created the first prototype, then I want to expand. As a youth, and then I have to play a major role. I have to help people. I have to help society. I have to help my country.
I am Jamila Mammadli. It is Jamila Mammadli in my own language. I currently live in Baku. I am 27 years old for now. And I'm currently working as copywriter at my company. It's a television company. Baku is something new and something old. Many people can enjoy it here if you are a tourist. But for me, it's kind of challenging place to be. I moved here 3 years ago. I lived in some really small village, really green place to be. It's really nice. But there wasn't many opportunities for me, so I had to move to Baku. I just came to big city and I thought it should be so much easier. It wasn't, for my surprise. I enjoyed discovering new places. Okay, maybe not all the places accessible for me. Of course, I'm a wheelchair user, so I can't move around freely. I can't enjoy myself without thinking, can I go there without any help or maybe obstacles? But I know that it's like this for the most of the world. We are not accessible world, unfortunately. When I first got to use metro, I was new in the city and was really scared. Before me, it was illegal to use the metro with wheelchair. Yeah, it was the real thing. So it was really challenging for me, not only physically, but even mentally. I had to fight.
Many times the people who are economically poor are not intellectually poor. Wealth has no relationship with wisdom. You can have a lot of wealth and you may be foolish. And a person who is economically very poor may be very wise. I'm Anil Gupta, professor, taught at Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad for about 40 years. And I also founded Honeybee Network around 34 years ago. It is a database for democratizing the grassroots innovations, innovations from and innovations for grassroots. So it's a voluntary effort. We have been doing this walk for decades, adding wings to the imagination by not just looking at what people lack, but what people are good at. We tried to learn from 4 teachers in every learning walk. A teacher within, a teacher around us, a teacher in nature, and a teacher among common people.
बीमार पड़ी गए तो यही करे सो कोई आटे मीठू गरम करी नाखी डुंगरी बासी खवरावी
Honoring creative people at their doorstep makes a big difference. I mean, there were occasions when people in the village didn't know about them enough. Sometimes they didn't know at all. Well, we never knew that he was doing this experiment. And of course, this process of visibility gives currency to these creative ideas, otherwise they get lost. We often have a challenge as to how can formal system, policymakers, financial system, how can they take note, how can they hear them? So I'm convinced that if we want inclusive development, we should encourage diversity, And we should also encourage difference of opinion, difference of views, difference in the ways we solve problems. Mind on the margin are not marginal minds.
People have always been dreaming up ways to make life better for those around them, but too often their work gets lost in a noisy world. Now, however, others are starting to listen.
I've always believed in the mission of the United Nations. You know, those first 3 words, we the people, really mean something when you look at the state of the world as it is right now. So the United Nations Development Program was set up in 1965. It's a $5 billion a year organization with 17,000 people working on it, spanning across 170 countries. What we saw happening was that the pace of change was accelerating. In climate problems, in poverty issues, even in technological developments, the pace of change on the outside world was actually faster than what we were able to keep up with on the inside of our own organization. So the kind of traditional approach to development, basically, is with a perspective that you need economists to look at data, to understand the problem, to analyze the problem, to make a plan, and then have the plan delivered, and then people are better off and the world is a safer and better place. They're saying, this is what we're here to do for you. But the kinds of problems that you have in the world today, you've got increasing droughts, increasing flooding, loss of crop yields, the growth of violent extremism. These are the kinds of problems that change by the minute, and they depend on the actions of 8 billion people around the world. They're not the kind of problems that you can sit behind a desk in an office like this one and design a plan to solve. We started looking at various research, and one of the things we looked at was a piece of research where they were looking at the problem of recurrent flooding in Indonesia. They found a fellow named Mate Kusama who was almost obsessively taking care of black soldier flies. As it turns out, they eat the waste that occurs in irrigation canals, and where the black soldier flies were protected, the farms were safer from floods. You could put agricultural experts, you could put, equity experts of all kinds in a room, give them coffee for 3 days, and they would never come out with protect and love the black soldier flies. We were inspired by the idea that that kind of a solution was so different and so off our radar that we must be missing something. It's the people closest to the problem who have the most knowledge about that problem.
Lúc đầu thì mình cũng phải đi xin. Vì nhà mình đi về là thấy rác đầy. Cứ làm 2-3 bữa, xong rồi là nghe mùi thối là phải đem đi đổ. Cứ lần quần 3 phần đường, 3 phần rác và 10 phần nước. Từ một cái chai nhỏ cho tới một cái chai to. Thì mình có 3 sản phẩm về tẩy rửa. Có 2 điều. Thứ nhất là làm sao cái môi trường nó sạch hơn. Thứ hai là những người có cái mảnh đời bất hạnh, họ có một cuộc sống ổn định, họ không thể giàu nhưng họ không phải đói. Con ơi. Dạ. Châu, đúng là nam đi hỉ, cô phải tới con đó.
Là cô chỉ cho em lùm, mới đầu cô cũng chỉ cho em lùm bằng cái thùng sơn á, nhỏ nhỏ, cái hồi đó em sợ lắm, lùm là sợ thúi thiệt luôn á. Cái em lùm được 3 tháng đào, cái bắt đầu em ổn định rồi em lùm tự em lùm.
Tháng đi nhập ngày 1 hay là ngày 30?
ngày mai mốt hoặc ngày một.
Bé Liễu mà hắn đi trả tặng về á nè, là cô sẽ dắt hắn xuống đây thì công bài cho hắn cách làm. Cái dây chuyền sản xuất của công ty ấy, thì 50% là những cái mặt hàng vận hành được theo tôi để mà xây dựng ra cái hệ thống sản xuất dây chuyền tại cái cộng đồng. Họ có một cuộc sống ổn định hơn thì mình cũng có một cuộc sống phát triển hơn.
I prefer working during the night because it's been a quiet time and less distraction compared during the day. So like during the night is the best time for me to do all my research and imagine, yeah. Anytime I think of this story, I feel so heartrending of what's happened. Just imagine losing an entire family. One of my close neighbors, they were using fossil fuel generator during the night for their children to study. They placed the generator very close to the window of the living room. And then what happened, the poisonous fume from this generator was entering the living room, unknowing to them. So they fell asleep, and I and my dad went there, and we tried to wake them up, but no one responded. I was like, Dad, what happened? No one was alive, so all of them were dead. So now I went back and started doing some research and see how best I could come with something, like we stop this problem.
This is my favorite toy, and it reminds me of my childhood. It calms me down. I love to use it when I work on something. It gives me inspiration. My innovation, if I have to call myself innovator, starts from trying to do something more accessible for all people. I want to show the world and I can live my life if you give me some options to live my life more smoothly. Yes, I'm working currently, I have some income, I can use the taxi all the time whenever I want, but I choose to use the metro, I choose to use the bus. I know it might lead brighter future for wheelchair users. So I just wrote a letter to Metro about how I want to use Metro, and they just answered me it is inaccessible because escalators are really dangerous for wheelchairs, so they can't. When all the people around you think you are limited, you tend to believe it too.
Faith makes us resilient. If we really believe in our ideas, no boundaries can contain us. The Kazi tribe saw the potential in a simple tree's roots breaking through rock and reaching out over water. They nurtured these dreams, knowing they might take decades to bear fruit. Strength of vision like this drives us on.
As a world, we are growing, but we have to make sure that nobody is left behind. Everybody is equal and they should move together. I think the first story almost when we have kind of designed the whole bag and we have incorporated the light in it, which we have made it like a hands-free so that the kids don't have to worry about charging it over the time. I give them actually a small idea booklet, the mechanical tools. So some kits we have designed, some kits we got from certain people. This generation is totally dependent on innovation. My whole motto is to really motivate them and tell them that if any problem comes, you have to find solutions within your surroundings. जुगाड़ कैसे करते हो? आइडिया सोचने हैं, ठीक है? इवन जुगाड़ के बारे में सोचना है. कोई प्रॉब्लम हो आसपास, आपके घर पे कुछ, आपके सिस्टर ब्रदर को कुछ चाहिए, या आपके स्कूल में आपके टीचर्स को कुछ जल्दी से, अगर बारिश हो जाती है बहुत ज्यादा, ठीक है, तो पानी भर जाता है हर जगह. I feel they have a lot of interesting ideas. They impact me a lot because sometimes my brain is biased. Like I see a particular thing in a certain way. But they were like, oh, this can also happen in another manner. I was like, yeah, you're right.
मैम इसमें हमने बोर्ड बनाई. मैम ये टेबल का लकड़ी उखाड़ा पाइप, मैम उसको हमने चप्पू बनाया और मैम तैरते तैरते गेट तक पहुंचे.
तो ये इसमें बैठा कौन हुआ है?
मैम
आप हो? ओके, वेरी नाइस. Being marginalized is a very difficult situation. You don't know where your life is going. You see on television, you see on internet, so many people are succeeding and you don't know the way how to reach there. We have to be responsible as we are training new generations. We have to reach each and every corner of the mountains and rivers. Even if they are living in the remotest area, you can do it. Simply, you can do it.
For me, living in a part of the world, it's very challenging, and sometimes for me to have access to internet is quite difficult because we have big problem with electricity. Based on what I saw and the incident that happened to my close neighbor inspired me to come up with possible solutions to do something that would be environmental friendly. So the solar card will help people in society. I think that will create impact to their life. I find myself in some part of Africa, and it's very difficult for us to get raw material, especially when you want to do some projects and the required material is not out there. So all the place where we can get the required material is already trashed. Like me, I have this dream, I have this passion to help Sierra Leone. We have people that have talent, we have people that are capable of doing great things in society, but they don't have the opportunity.
Là nó rất là vất vả. Mà nếu như mà không thực sự mà không quyết tâm, không phải tâm huyết với cái việc mình làm thì chắc không thể nào làm được. Làm đủ thứ mà cũng không thành công. Chỉ đó là đam mê với lại cái mong ước thôi. Thực sự ra là để mà nghĩ ra một công thức hay thực hiện một cái ý tưởng á, nó rất là khó khăn. Không ai tin tưởng hết. Người hàng xóm thì bảo bà đi bảo bị thần kinh. Ui bà mẹ này bà hão huyền quá đi, không làm được. Ngay cả ông chồng cũng nghĩ là ui bà điên thiệt cái chứ.
I really enjoy acting. Of course I do. I'm used to attention. People look at me all the time. People stare at me for a long time, really long time. So it wasn't scary for me, I have to admit. Yes, my life is normal for me, but it's abnormal for many people. If you don't see around it, you don't normalize it. Like wheelchair users can use metro. So my friend came to me and said we should use it and make it like common sense. And I just came to me, why not the filming it? When I grow up, I didn't have representation and I didn't know how to do, what to do. I just had to get it for myself. It was really black space for me. And when I think that there's a young disabled children who don't know what to do with their lives, I really feel sad. It's the only time when I feel sad, I guess. So, as a person who did all the things by herself, I should people listen to me. Because when I talk about it something, I talk with experience.
There are solutions out there that farmers are doing, that street vendors are working on, where we need to look at those solutions, to be willing to learn from everyone and anyone.
The economic model we have is driven by depletion of natural resources. It's also creating massive inequalities. We're getting to the point where people don't want to listen, right? Because they feel the pressure so much on themselves, and it's so much easier to listen to a narrative that is divisive rather than unifying. I believe the world needs a United Nations, but a lot about the United Nations needs to open up, it needs to modernize, it needs to learn, and so much of this is about that.
We started this Accelerator Lab network in 2019.
We try and tap into the distributed knowledge and perception and practices of women and men who are facing the effects of climate change, who are living in poverty, and who have a lot to contribute to putting the planet on a more sustainable path.
We're shifting the paradigm here. The United Nations Development Program is saying to the world, we don't know everything, and we need this heavy doubling down on local knowledge. So in each of our accelerator labs, we have a head of solutions mapping. Their job is to connect us more to the people that we serve, their inventions, their ingenuity, their entrepreneurship. Now we've got a network of these 91 labs around the world who are able to learn from each other. We work alongside government partners and university partners and others. And then we invite them to come with us on this journey so that they're co-designing with us. That's really where you start to make transformation.
I'm based in Ghana, and my job is just mapping grassroots solutions to development challenges. 70% of the country's economy is informal. So if you're ignoring 70%, I am not saying there's something wrong with the model. I am saying we should also speak to the informal sector. Imagine, within an organization, it's carried on for 60 plus years, and they're talking big macroeconomic ideas, and they have the big budgets to do these huge projects. And then the administrator creates a unit. The colleagues who are willing, open to kind of learning from us and sharing with us. So it's an ongoing process.
A system is designed to produce exactly the results that it's producing. I got into the World Bank at 25 years old and eventually became the vice president for South Asia. We managed a portfolio of $36 billion, had thousands of staff, and had a very large budget, $100 million. There were a lot of problems that we were trying to fix. We call them the wicked development programs that could not be solved from the top down. I could see these amazing organizations that were actually solving that problem, but we could not connect them because of the business model of the World Bank. And so it was very frustrating not to be able, with all those resources, not to be able to actually help those organizations, grassroots, social entrepreneurs who had the solution but were not able to scale. And then that's when I left, and I realized this is as far as I can get. It was like the confirmation. It was something that you know in your gut, and not rejecting, but actually understanding it as part of a whole system that needs to change.
This is nice. I just saw them on the road, then I'm trying to look at them. This is what I use for my imagination car.
Meet Emmanuel Ali Mansari, a 24-year-old geology student of Forabe College. Emmanuel has just created Sierra Leone's first locally made solar-powered car that is eco-friendly and does not use or need to use any form of fuel.
First of all, my dad was the first person to see this on social media, and then he went to my door and knocked. Emmanuel, wake up. I see this on Facebook. It's you? I said, yes, Dad, it's me. So my dad was so happy, and my mom, they were dancing. That very day, they cook good for me, so I eat a lot, drink a lot. It's like party at home. So I really feel good. Anytime this car is in the streets, we cause the traffic. It's serious traffic. People, we stop their car, we want to see this car, people shouting, even the bike riders, like the motor riders, they will be behind me, escort me like a president. And I was like, people, accept what I'm doing, so I have this kind of joy. I feel good because people accept what I do for them.
Well, we made it, Sierra Leone, green, white, and blue.
All of my friends, my community people, congratulations, Emmanuel, you have done well, we are proud of you. My dad said, yes, son, this is just a starting, more to come for you. I say, yes, Dad, amen. Then I start the GoFundMe campaign. My target was $10,000, and what I've earned is something like $700. Sometimes I feel discouraged, like asking myself, like people don't trust me, people don't like what I'm doing. So this keeps me so sad. It keeps me so sad. Because you have this vision, you have this passion to help people, and then you see your product not scaling up. It's so painful.
After my video went viral, the Baku metro, they just connected me and just tell me that there's a new project. It is not perfect solution, but it might work. And they wanted from me to be first user of it. So of course I agreed. It was new opportunity for me to make my city and my country more accessible. I mostly give it input about how to make this project more accessible and understandable. We choose the time, choose the place, that's it. Yes, there's some little problem. You have to call 1 hour beforehand because not all the stations have that accommodation, so they have to send their workers. It's really frustrating. Some people have that vision in their mind, so that can help people with wheelchairs. But actually it doesn't, because you don't know. You are not them. You didn't have that life. Yes, it will be an improvement, but we have a long way to go.
Liễu à, Hẹn biết dịch chứ không là cô lên sớm rồi.
Dạ.
Thì đây là cái quyển sổ này để con ghi, tại vì cô có thể in cho con cái công thức được, nhưng mà con không có nhớ, cho nên cái quyển sổ này xí nhập là cô nói là con ghi. Mình chỉ có mình chỉ có thứ này với đường và rau rót với lại nước là tạo ra cái chế phẩm. Tất nhiên là bên cô á, là không có thể nó là giúp cho con giàu hay thoát nghèo, nhưng mà cho con được cái bữa cơm. Không, bây giờ mình vô để cô hướng dẫn cho. Bản hôm nay á, có rất là nhiều đơn hàng, nhưng mà mỗi một ngày á, thì sẽ giải quyết một đơn hàng. Hầu như đi được 63 tỉnh thành. Thực sự ra thì mình còn mong đi nhiều hơn nữa, bởi vì nếu như đi được nhiều á, thì giúp được nhiều người hơn. Thực sự ra thì hồi đầu á, là tôi không nghĩ tới cái việc kinh doanh. Vì tôi cứ nghĩ là đi chia sẻ, lúc đó là nguyên cái thành phố Đà Nẵng đi á, phụ nữ Đà Nẵng á, là tôi đã chia sẻ hơn 1.000 chị em để cho chị em về làm tại nhà và có thể sử dụng nó lau bếp, lau nhà, lau cửa. Và cái ước mơ lớn nhất của mình đó là làm cái gì đó cho xã hội, là để tri ân lại những gì mà xã hội đã hỗ trợ mình lúc mình còn bé. Nhà tôi thì đông anh em, tôi là thứ 10 là đứa út. Nhưng mà khi mà mẹ tôi có bầu tôi 6 tháng thì bố tôi mất. Tôi sinh tôi được đúng 11 tháng 8 ngày thì mẹ tôi cũng mất. Thì do chiến tranh loạn lạc nên là tôi được 2 tuổi thì nhà tôi đã thất lạc gia đình. Và được các chú bộ đội trên núi nhặt được. Sau đó thì cho tôi đi theo trên dãy Trường Sơn. Người ta gửi tôi ở với lại một cái nhà mà còn có 10 người. có một đêm trời mưa to lắm, mưa dễ sợ. Cái nơi tôi nằm là bị mưa dột ướt, và chị đó đã bồng tôi vào phía trong để cho chị nằm ở chỗ ướt. Và tôi nhớ đến bây giờ là sao con người họ tốt như thế. Năm 2016 khi mà tôi đi thi khởi nghiệp á, thì rất là nhiều người biết được tới cái ý tưởng này và cái dự án đang làm á. Tức là từ 2016 cho tới 2019 là người ta đặt mua, nhưng mà lần nào thì tôi cũng không bán. Tôi sẽ làm giúp mọi người, những người xung quanh của mình. Và nếu tôi bán ở đây á, thì không còn cơ hội giúp họ. Chỉ có đơn giản chừng đó thôi thì tôi đã không bán đâu. Mặc dù là tôi rất là khó khăn về tiền, nhưng mà nếu mà bán lúc đó 5 tỷ bạc thì nó to lắm, chứ không phải như bây giờ đâu. Ngay từ đầu á, thì tôi cũng đã chia sẻ là tôi không phải là mong mình sẽ được nhiều tiền. Mình không phải để làm để kiếm thiệt nhiều tiền, mà tôi chỉ cần cuộc sống là ổn định thôi. Khi mà nghĩ tới cái việc mình bán nó đi, rồi những người đó họ bơ vơ, họ lại phải kiếm cái cuộc sống mà họ phải quay về cái cuộc sống của họ thì không nỡ.
The way we framed innovation, right, is the inventor, it'll be this commercial success that then grows and spreads. And now we celebrate and they get a TED Talk. Good for that person. Maybe not so good for the community. Sometimes that locks up the innovation and no one else can use it. And then it becomes also a rule for what is accepted legally or regulated away. We love hero stories. We're humans, right? So we love the hero story. We love the story of an individual that has made it against the odds. So along with the story of the hero, we hope that the story of the problem they were trying to solve comes along. When you look at something that is working for the people who live there, and you come in with this problematized frame and we're going to solve it, then you lose out on the innovation and energy that's actually going on, right? And you lose out on supporting that, and most likely, you're going to damage it with your solution. The problem is not going to be solved only by individuals coming up with solutions. They're going to be solved by systems. And so hopefully we get beyond the hero stories to then ask, what was that system that needed changing? And how can we bring resources and power to solve that problem?
Imagine a river in the mountains of Meghalaya, India. The roots of a rubber fig tree break out of the bank, reaching over the water. Starting on your side, you begin to build a bridge from them. Looking up, you see others building from the other side. Wouldn't the best way to cross that river be to meet in the middle?
Más o menos ya va a ser como 10 años que nos está afectando bastante porque se ha desorganizado el clima, ya no es como antes. Estos 10 años se está echando a perder bastante y por eso es que la mayoría de la población estamos optando ya por reconstruir de nuevo los andenes.
Aquí en Ancocala se ha hecho una combinación, ¿no?, de infraestructura natural con infraestructura artesanal, también recuperar el conocimiento ancestral que viene desde los incas, ¿no?, para poder adaptarse y tener más agua durante no solo la época de lluvia, sino durante la época seca.
No hubiesen habido de repente andenes, yo sé que hasta en estos momentos la tierra hubiese sido arrasada por el agua y no hubiera tenido una producción adecuada.
Ellos, sin ser profesionales, sin ser personas educadas, han podido realizar proyectos, construcciones.
Tratar de autosostener a la comunidad, porque si no fuese así, hay bastante emigración a las ciudades.
Estas innovaciones locales no se queden solo en Ancocala, sino que puedan difundirse hacia otros lugares de los Andes y ojalá en el mundo.
I tried to talk about this project to all the people when I met them because it's need to be known.
Bu yaxınlarda başqa bir dövlət qurumunun şəxslə danışırdıq. O yeni bir əldə olan şəxslər kimi müdaxilədən. Mən dedim ki, bəli, görürük. Amma mənim problemim onda deyil ki, nə işlər görünmür. Mənim problemim ondadır ki, həmin görülən işlərdə əldə olan şəxslər
iştirak eləmir.
Problem buradadır. Çünki əgər iştirak olsa, tədbirlərdən mən də razıyam. Amma mənim iştirakım olmayanda, mənim fikrim nəzərə alınmayanda, o mənim üçün olmur.
Əslində bizim belə ümumi BMT sloqanı var. Bütün məsələlərlə bağlı belə sloqandır. Nothing about us without us.
Yes. That's the point.
So when we look at the kinds of grassroots innovations that we set out to map and document and amplify, if we don't see those as innovations in the first place, if we don't see people, regardless of how much money they have or where they live or how much education they have, as owners of knowledge, then yes, their great ideas, their ingenuity is not being counted. Unless you are counted, you don't exist, which is an enormous shame given the state of the world we have today, which needs everything we can throw at it. So that's why now we have this global innovation ecosystem. It's more about connecting than it is about collecting. So it's exciting because we're going to start to see more and more solutions and connect them to each other to hopefully make some breakthroughs.
So we need a global platform that will not merely search for solutions, but also spread them as DIY solutions, do-it-yourself solution. International networks often arrange and facilitate networking among the professionals, among the policymakers, among the managers of the system. But what is becoming possible is that this partnership now can connect people themselves.
I am heading into Conakry, Guinea to meet with colleagues, innovators, to partner with them, to collaborate with them, to share ideas, to see how best we could bring up possible solutions to help our people. Actually, we met in a small platform where all change makers, where all innovators share their ideas and as well as scaling them up so they could become something big in society. I've never traveled out of Sierra Leone. This will be my first adventure taking such trip. Yeah, I'm so excited.
I've been working in Africa for over 30 years. I've been developing a project that involves creating a new vehicle. It's a solar-powered electric tricycle to reduce CO2 emissions and to bring electricity to the farthest regions. We started chatting, Emmanuel and I, on the platform, and we had an interesting exchange, and we were looking forward to meeting in person in Conakry.
Yeah, the connection was so great. I would say that is a very good bridge. It showed me that the lab.
Yeah, so this is the lab. Yeah, this is the lab, the fab lab.
No, everything was all about electronics.
This one is for us to see the circuit inside this one. The oxygenator, it helps you to get the oxygen from outside.
And we have this kind of connection, and we have this kind of collaboration partner, like we are going to work together.
온 세계에 있는 사람들이 같은 고통을 받고 있고 어려움에 처해 있다고 생각을 해요. 그리고 그런 공통의 문제점들을 해결하기 위해서 많은 사람들과 연결할 수 있는 어떤 기술적인 기반이라든가 우리 포투마우로 플랫폼 그리고 또 제로원 같은 플랫폼이 있다는 것 자체가 이런 시국에 있어서 문제점들을 해결해 나가는데 굉장히 큰 구심점이 될 거라고 생각합니다. Hello, Jamila. I'm Youngjin. I'm from Korea.
Hi.
It would be better to speak in Korean with my translator, okay? 첫 번째 질문은 자밀라가 언제부터 휠체어를 타는지 좀 궁금합니다.
I started using wheelchair at 13.
At 13.
He'd like to know how you can improve a wheelchair. Do you have any ideas in mind?
I would love to when I can modify my wheelchair by myself because it's really hard to find someone to fix it. And in your project, I would love to see some wheelchairs that I can fix. I can adjust the height or other things by myself, not needing anyone else.
미래에 다가올 다양한 문제점들을 보다 효율적으로 그리고 또 실질적인 개선을 하기 위해서 많은 노력들을 해야 될 텐데 그런 과정에 있어서 실질적으로 그 근본적인 답이 사람들의 창의성에 있다는 걸 알게 됐습니다.
The private sector has to be part of the solution. You need multidisciplines. You cannot just come from one discipline. You need ways of tapping from the very rich grassroots world and information and assets that they are in order to make a difference.
Hi, my name is Songam Park and I am a solar system engineer.
Hello, my name is Rebecca.
I am Emmanuel Ali Masai.
I'm Bazeti Gidonki and I'm the managing partner responsible for market access of solar e-cycle project.
This is Paola Constantino from Guatemala UNDP Accelerator Lab. I'm head of solutions mapping.
My name is Alfredo Maul. I'm also from Guatemala. I'm a frugal innovator. We have actually completed our working prototype that could be replicated not only in the Americas, but also in other parts of the world.
I'd like to know what kind of obstacles you're facing now. Maybe you can help.
There are 600 million people that don't have access to electricity in Africa. So a solar-powered vehicle with battery pack could bring electricity to anybody's home in Africa.
In the rural areas, we don't have infrastructure like cities. We have very, very narrow roads. Probably the topography is really hard. So when you think about the e-tricycle, when you think about the imagination solar car that of Emmanuel's and the solar tuk-tuk here in Guatemala, people are responding to the local conditions. And I think that here we have the chance to look ahead, to look forward.
일단 먼저 시작을 할게요. 일단 오늘 지금까지 얘기만 들었을 때도 저희가 좀 생각하지 못했던 것들이 오히려 저희가 많이 배울 수 있었어요. 사실 저희의 솔라셀
So networking people across the world is always helpful, right? And it is powerful. Is it enough? No, right? Never is, right? It never is enough. It's a great step But bringing visibility to it elevates it and maybe changes the narrative of how we should solve problems in the world.
We really want to change the way that people think about development.
This is actually giving new meaning to we the people. This is saying there is intelligence, there is invention, there is creativity, there is power in all 8 billion of us.
You do what you can with whatever you have. You look around, you see what's wrong, you think, how can I improve it? How can I make it better? How can I change my life or change the life of people around me? You don't need to be like a technologically savvy person or an IT person to make an innovation. You can generally solve a problem of your community, and that would be the innovation as well, if it's new and refreshing and helps and has an impact.
I consider myself as a soldier. I just fight for something I believe. I use my knowledge, I use my words, I use my confidence to fight. I know there's a lot of people who still think I'm limited because their vision are limited.
Can we teach ourselves to really see? Can we unlearn what blinds us to the potential that exists where we least expect it? Like the Kazi people, who keep the knowledge of their ancestors alive with their root bridges. We can see what we need to cross to the other side. For ourselves, for each other, for tomorrow.
We all have something to learn, and we all have something to teach. We need to come together. We need to find new and innovative ways of working together. The challenges we face today are not going to be solved by individual heroes. They are going to be solved by communal efforts.
¿Qué mensaje les das desde aquí, desde la chacra, a todo el mundo?
A todo el mundo me gustaría decirles que valoren lo que tienen, tanto el agua, el aire, el paisaje. Es mucho mejor tener más plantas que muchos edificios. Tener agua es la vida que uno puede decir y ser feliz en esta vida, en este planeta.
¡Buena!
Gracias.